It's ridiculous logic. 3,000 years ago, Egyptian pharaohs used to own Jewish slaves. Does that mean Akmal could just call up Jerry Seinfeld and be like, oi bro, you owe me royalties, right? Don't be a soup Nazi about it.
And relations between Australia and Israel have reached a new low. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has hit out at Anthony Albanese, calling him a weak politician who has abandoned Australian Jews. Ashley Kanowski joins us now. Ash, this follows the PM's move to recognise a Palestinian state.
Taylor, this is the latest development in what is deteriorating diplomatic ties between the two countries. Anthony Albanese announced last week that Australia will formally recognise a Palestinian state. Benjamin Netanyahu and other Israeli leaders are unhappy about this. Tonight, Netanyahu's office posting to X attributing this statement to the PM. History will remember Albanese for what he is, a weak politician who betrayed Israel and abandoned Australia's Jews. Anthony Albanese isn't the first leader to face the wrath of Benjamin Netanyahu for their support of a Palestinian state. But he seems to be at the front of the queue right now, with Israel yesterday revoking the visas of 2 Australian officials after Canberra rejected the visa application of right-wing Israeli politician who was scheduled to speak at Jewish schools and synagogues in Australia. The Deputy Prime Minister spoke earlier today in response to the visa stoush.
This is a moment where we need to be promoting dialogue between our countries, and this is a very disappointing and unjustified step which has been taken by Israel.
As for Benjamin Netanyahu's post, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's office has been contacted for comment, but no doubt, Taylor, many around the world waiting to see what is said next.
Benjamin Netanyahu called you a weak leader. He said that you've abandoned the Australian Jewish community. How do you respond to that?
Well, I treat leaders of other countries with respect. I engage with them in a diplomatic way. October 7, the Parliament condemned unequivocally the actions of Hamas as a terrorist organisation. We then went on to say that Israel had a right to defend itself. How it defended itself mattered, and it needed to do that within international law, and that there needed to be respect for innocent lives. Do I think too many innocent lives have been lost? Yes, I do. What's important is that the international community thinks that as well overwhelmingly, and also that is what Australians see. Australians look at their TV coverage, in spite of the fact that there's limited media presence in Gaza. They look at what's happening there. They look at the increased settler violence in the West Bank. They look at the decision that Israel has made in March to restrict the access of aid, food and water that people in Gaza needed, and they look at that and they think that something needs to change. The cycle of violence needs to change. Australia's a part of a global community.
Jewish people have a right to the land. They've been there for thousands of years. Jewish people were there 2,000-3,000 years ago, which is very weird logic for stealing something now, or 3,000 years. Like, my background is Sri Lankan Moor. 3,000 years ago, I got Indian ancestry, Moroccan, Yemeni, Iraqi. I can't just rock up to Saddam Hussein's palace and be like, oi, Uday, that's my bedroom, bro. Piss off, 3,000 years ago. It's ridiculous logic. 3,000 years ago, Egyptian pharaohs used to own Jewish slaves. Does that mean Akmal could just call up Jerry Seinfeld and be like, oi bro, you owe me royalties, right? Don't be a soup Nazi about it. Stealing shit, 3,000 years. That's like doing an Ancestry.com test. Oh, I'm 0.1% Chinese. I guess I own all the violins, I think you get the point. But no one's saying that Jewish people haven't lived in Palestine for thousands of years. Jewish people were there when Jesus was alive. Jewish people were there when Jesus happened to find himself nailed to the cross. Not saying they did that, because that would be anti-Semitic, but Jesus will be back and he'll have a victim statement. Then we'll find out what happened. But Jesus was from Palestine. He's from the West Bank. He's from Bethlehem, which is under military occupation now, but he was from there. Which is a miracle in and of itself, because he had very blonde Scandinavian skin and hair. And everybody else looked like Waleed Ali, you know? He looked like a member of ABBA. It's a miracle.